Shabbat Shalom, Temple Emmanuel. We're standing in the Platt Memorial Yahrzeit room here at Temple Emmanuel. And it's very fitting that on this week, when we read from Parshat Tetzaveh, that we stand here in this room. Because as we know, the beginning of this Parsha, this portion, is all about the Ner Tamid, the eternal light. And God says to Moses, "You shall command the people of Israel to keep the eternal light lit by using clear beaten olive oil," which clearly has to take on some time. It is a process to create and make sure is ready for the placing in the Ner Tamid to keep the light lit. But there's something that is even more important about this portion that we need to mention, because it's interesting that the portion begins with the Ner Tamid. It's sort of random in many ways that we begin with the Ner Tamid. So why the Ner Tamid? An interesting fact. Which Torah portion out of the entire Chumash, the 5 books of Moses, which Torah portion is the only one that doesn't mention Moses? You guessed it. It's this one. And the rabbis teach that the reason that Moses is not mentioned in this portion is because yesterday, I'm recording on a Wednesday, yesterday, Tuesday, was the 7th of Adar. And in the Hebrew calendar, the 7th of Adar is Moses' Yahrzeit. It's the day he's remembered. And as we see the other names that are on our wall as we remember our loved ones in this memorial room, we remember that this, on the 7th of Adar, is Moses' Yahrzeit, which means that in that moment that Moses stood on Sinai and received the Torah for the people of Israel, to allow us to live and to learn and to love, this is an opportunity for us to not just remember our loved ones, but to make sure that the eternal light, that Ner Tamid, that the menorah, that the candles of Judaism, the light of Judaism is always lit. That's why this portion starts with the Ner Tamid. Because as we remember Moses and we remember our loved ones who have come before us, the future will only be as bright as the lights that we kindle. From one day, from one Shabbat, to 1 month, to 1 year, to the future. Midor Lador, from one generation to the next. And that's the importance of having this sense of emunah, a sense of faith and of courage, that even though the future might be uncharted, that every day we don't know, we're uncertain about what the future holds for us, we have the courage and the strength that we stand on the shoulders of those who have come before us to keep the eternal light, the Ner Tamid, the menorah, the light of Judaism lit. That's our challenge for today, for tomorrow, and for years to come, to make sure that we continue to let Judaism live on into the future. It's our journey, it's your journey, it's the Jewish people's journey from one day to the next. And even though we don't necessarily use the oil of clear beaten olives, and we may light a candle or flip a switch, we still light Judaism. We keep it alive from one day to the next. We have to. Our lives and the future of our children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren depend on it. What would happen one day if Judaism was no longer here? What would happen if synagogues were no longer here? That's the message of this Torah portion, Tetzaveh. And you shall command the people of Israel to do it. We know we have to. It's in our hearts, in our souls, it's in our kishkas. Let us all continue together to make sure that Judaism continues from one generation to the next. We walk hand in hand to make that happen. So on this Shabbat on Friday, 6 o'clock, Mini Minyan, 7:30, our regular service. Come, join us, be here, share Shabbat, and share the light of Judaism with you, with your family, with your community, with your loved ones. from one Shabbat to the next. Shabbat Shalom, Temple Emmanuel.